It started with victory and ended in defeat, but
oh my God,
somewhere in the middle there was one hell of a story to tell. The end of the calendar year may well have ended in defeat at Reading, but oh my goodness, 2024 has been one to remember for the Stags, which included promotion from Sky Bet League 2 to Sky Bet League 1. And as they end the calendar year doing relatively well in their brand new division, the Stags can look back fondly on a year that's been full of highs with very little lows. Over the next hour or so, right here on the Mansfield Matters podcast, we're going to be recapping the last brilliant 12 months, talking about all the twists and the turns and everything in between. So come and get involved and have your say on your team in the live feed. What have you loved? What have you hated? What's been the best moment other than promotion from the last 12 calendar months? That was 2024, undoubtedly the year of the Stag. Sadly, not the year of the biscuit, which we were all eating before we started. Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Mansfield Matters podcast. It's the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. Thanks so much for joining us for the final podcast of 2024, or, as I'm going to exclusively reveal now, the final podcast ever. I've decided that I no longer wish to do the podcast, and therefore I am handing the reins over to Cam. And as you will all be aware, Cam doesn't turn up, so therefore there'll be no podcast ever. So this is the final ever Mansfield Matters podcast. And if you believe that, you'll believe absolutely anything. We will continue well into 2025. Thanks so much for joining us. Now, as you can see, we've got a mix of in the room with me and virtual. We will discuss Clive's name on screen very, very shortly indeed. But first and foremost, let's say hello and good evening to those who join me in the room today. And again, just to let you know, just like the Christmas special a little bit, it might sound a little bit different today. That's because we are using a slightly different audio setup, as you can see, with Clive not being in the room and with Nick, Alan and Jim all being here. So let's say hello, good evening, and welcome to them all. First and foremost, it's the man who was in his PA box playing simply the best earlier this year when the Stags were promoted from League 2 to League 1. Good evening to Alan Wilson.
Good evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody.
It's the man who's always got his smile on his face, even though he doesn't show it all the time, but that's because he's in our company. Good evening, Jim Evans.
Evening, Craig. Evening, everybody.
And the man who has got more shirts and collected, I believe, 438 different shirts this year and has launched a brand new shirts website. Good evening to Nick of Mansfield Town Shirts fame.
Good evening, Craig. Good evening, everybody. I actually picked up a shirt today.
Did you?
Yeah, it's an extra one, actually. I did this morning, yeah.
Is it the one that you were touting after yesterday?
It was, yeah. It's the white one, yeah.
So I know which one it is, but I'm not going to spoil it for everyone else. But I can say this. It's an absolute legend, isn't it? That's all we'll say.
Yeah, so that's the second one. So there's two.
There's two?
That's the second one, yeah.
Oh.
The other one that I got today. The other one should be tomorrow.
Teasing. And let's say hello to the man with the smallest penis in the land. No, Cam's not logged on. It's Clive Parkin. Clive, why are you called Little Willie? It's not to do with your Nando's toilet trip, is it?
Well, I'm not going to qualify that about the size of my appendage because people take the piss out of me anyway. And I tell you what, I hate shirts, Mansfield Town shirts. I hate it now. It's bored me. It's time you sacked him off. Jim, crack a fucking smile. Alan, get on my side, will you?
So why are you called Little Willie?
It's a Scottish deference, isn't it? I was most impressed by the Scottish stewards yesterday at Reading. And so I thought, I'll demonstrate my affinity with them by wearing a typical Scottish outfit.
Where have you got that from? I'm a bit worried that you already had that.
Well, I did already have it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it now, would I?
It could have been a late purchase today. Why did you already have one of those?
I don't know, but it's itching my head.
Put it back on. Put it back on quick. He's plugging his microphone in now and everything. Oh dear. I don't know what to say. I do know one thing though, Nick, that I've never seen Clive look so happy. He has such a glint in his eye when he heard the steward go, "All right, yeah, get 11."
We were approaching the ground, and the stewards were just ushering us in. And when the guy said, "You need to go up there, lads," Clive's eyes they just lit up, and he shoved me out the way, did a 90-degree left about turn, and walked straight up to the fella. And yeah, he's the happiest I've seen Clive for a long time. I'm the fastest I've ever seen him move. Other than when he realised one of the Nando's cubicles didn't have toilet roll yesterday, when he'd already sat down. Sorry, Clive.
Listen, I was only making light conversation with one of our Scottish friends, and he appreciated it.
He did. There was another one as well. There was two.
Oh dear. Shall we turn our attention to the game itself, Clive? And I'll get you out of this this Clive catastrophe of reliving what was a really difficult day for you yesterday. We won't mention the fact that you ran into the service station toilets. Oh no, I've just mentioned it. Oh dear.
You feeling a little under the weather, Clive, yesterday?
No, I was fine.
Oh.
Listen, these youngsters went for a pee far more than I did, up and down like a bride's nightie. They were.
We're 7 minutes into the podcast. Let's turn our attention to football, shall we? A 2-1 defeat, Clive, to end the calendar year. But again, Mansfield didn't do themselves too much injustice, did they? They played okay, and in the end, they were perhaps a little bit disappointed to come away with absolutely nothing in terms of points.
Yeah, we weren't beaten heavily. We competed on most occasions. I think we lacked just a touch of quality for their goals. But apart from that, as we said before, Mansfield Town have got nothing to fear in this league, providing we can stay fit. And on another occasion, we could have taken something from the game, but it wasn't happened. And fair dues to Reading, they've got a decent side.
Yeah, they played all right, Nick, and I think they're going to be up there towards the end of the season. Like Clive said there, we didn't do ourselves too much injustice in the end.
No, I thought we played really well, actually. I thought we certainly didn't deserve to be behind at the break. I thought the goal was justified. I think the only point I've seen, and I've seen quite a few comments from Reading fans saying we were the best team they'd seen down there this season, is that just final ball wasn't there. When they got the opportunity in and around the box, and it was only a handful of times, they scored pretty much twice out of the couple of occasions they had. We got into a lot of good positions out wide, and that final ball was just missing, or the final touch was missing. I think that was the only thing that let us down, really. I don't think we could do a lot about the first goal. I know Dave could have made the challenge, and we were a little bit high up the pitch. Second goal, it bounces around a little bit, and again, you can forgive him for that. So yeah, just that final little bit of quality. And I think we discussed it quite a lot, that they looked a little bit leggy, and I think Clough referenced it. Why certain players played both games than we thought maybe they shouldn't have done, but Clough knows the players better. But the players like Hewitt, maybe we thought maybe shouldn't have played both, or certainly started both games. But yeah, apart from that, I thought it was a really good performance, and on another day we would have got a point easily, comfortably, and could have even won it.
Jim, when it came to 2:00 yesterday and the team news eventually came out, were you surprised to see the words "unchanged starting 11" in the post by Mansfield Town Football Club?
No, because when a team's winning, I mean, Boxing Day was probably one of the best performances of the season. You're loath to change it, aren't you? But I agree. You got to put fresh legs in there, and the 2 long bus journeys as well never help. But it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, if you could change the team and we'd lost, everybody would be saying, "Well, why did you change it?" So can't win, can you? Really?
Yeah, you are damned if you do, damned if you don't. A little bit, Alan, but it just seems to be Mansfield's way this season, in particular the latter half of 2024, if you like, and that is when we play a game Saturday and have the week off and there's no game in the week, we're all right and we get through. But you throw a game in the middle of that and Mansfield do start to struggle a little bit.
I'm going to say it's like you said, Nigel alluded to it in his interview, didn't he? He said about the, odd 1 or 2 looking a bit leggy, and that's why he had to change it. But I thought it was a shame that Hewitt came off, because the outlet had gone then when Gregory and Flint came on. There was no outlet for them to get in the box and put it in the net. So it's just swings and roundabouts, really. I thought they played really well, though. And I thought Hewitt had a really good game, personally.
Yeah, he's just
It
struggling.
was flagging at that point, Alan.
Yeah, that's a fair comment. But once he'd gone, Clive, that was it.
Mm.
I do think we've got players that can play in that position, Clive. But like we said, we were sort of saying it, weren't we, at half time, that would be surprised if he plays much longer because he did look very leggy. And when he's got that pace, Clive, he can be a real dangerous asset for us, like we saw at Peterborough on Boxing Day. But I don't know, at Reading, on a big, wider pitch, we wanted a little bit more for him, and he just couldn't deliver because he didn't have the energy in his legs. You could see he desperately wanted to and was trying, but his legs were telling him otherwise, weren't they? Bless him.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the difference between success and failure, win or a lose, is fine margins at this level. And, you know, we lacked just a little bit of the quality we had at Peterborough, at Reading. Reed didn't play as well as he did at Peterborough, so our distribution wasn't as good as it had been. And I think the team isn't worthy of receiving too much criticism. I think they're continuing to do what they've done all season, which is work their socks off for the badge. And I think if you keep players fit and we have a little bit more luck than we've had in parts of the season, we should be all right. We needed a little bit of luck yesterday. It didn't happen. And I think when we play against Bolton in a few days' time, we're going to look for that little bit of luck to return.
Yeah, it's an interesting fixture list that we've got, Jim. But let's go a little bit further back, shall we? Because, you know, we didn't manage to squeeze one in after Boxing Day and before Reading, and Boxing Day turned out to be an absolute Boxing Day delight, didn't it?
Fantastic, yeah. I watched the game. And I thought, I mean, even though we were really, really good, Peterborough gave us 3 gifts. It's got to be said. If we'd have let those goals,
it was Christmas.
It was Christmas, but we wouldn't have been happy if we'd have conceded those goals. But we could only play what's in front of you, and we were fantastic. But just slightly back to the Hewitt thing again. I think he did the right thing bringing him off. Personally, you'd sooner him come off and not get injured rather than losing him with a hamstring for 6 weeks. So I think he did the right thing. If someone's tiring, get him off.
That was probably the danger a little bit with that. Let's continue on the theme of the 2 games, Alan. Boxing Day and Reading. Boxing Day delight. Did you see us scoring twice from corners and running away 3-0 winners? Because they're a free scoring side at times.
They are.
Peterborough
Always have been. That's in their makeup, isn't normally in their DNA. But that goal, the second goal of that, second goal of Evans, absolute beauty, weren't it? That header, very similar to the one he scored the week before, weren't it? Only it was more in the top corner. So it's good to see. It's coming alive, laddies.
Yeah, he is, and it's that confidence, isn't it, Clive? We were saying it when he got that first goal at Peterborough, that watch what happens now over the next couple of games. He'll start playing with a little bit more spring in his step. All he needed was a goal.
Yeah, I'd said moments before the goal to you and your dad, we never score from corners.
It's so regular then.
And Evans never going to score with his head. And he did. And he's needed a goal badly. It didn't matter how the goal was scored, he needed one. It could have come off his knee or his bottom or anything. He needed a goal. He got 2, and you can see the difference in the man's play. You know, he's just so much more alive now. And he was on it all through yesterday down at Reading as well. Needed a bit more service yesterday than he got, more like the service he had at Peterborough, because the goals were scored from corners and crosses, and that's something we haven't done as well as we want to do previously. So I'm encouraged by that. Different team. Reading were a different team to Peterborough. Without knocking Peterborough too much, they're not the side that Reading is. And so I don't think it's worthy of comparison in that respect. But yes, it's great that he's on the score sheet again. He's now gone into leading goal scoring position in the club. And it can only do him well.
It certainly can, and long may that continue, especially with Mr. Gregory sort of knocking on the door and coming back as well. We'll touch upon that in just a minute. But first, keep your comments, questions, opinions, and everything else in between coming in the live feed and have your say on your team. Talking of set pieces, Simon's been in touch and says, are set plays better without Flint? Well, we scored from 2 without Flint on Boxing Day, Nick, and we do look threatening at times, but then again at Reading, you know, especially when we're sort of pushing to try and get an equaliser, we couldn't beat the first man. It's all on the delivery sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, Flint can do absolutely nothing about a corner that hits the first man. I think the only thing with Flint is it's a bit obvious, isn't it? It's obvious who you're going to go for. You know, when Flint isn't on the pitch, it's not obvious. You can mix it up. You can go for I mean, Cargill's the main danger, isn't he? Let's be honest. He's probably our most natural at winning headers in their box. But when you put Flint in there, it's so obvious, isn't it, who you're going to go for? And one thing I noticed Flint did yesterday, he kept standing near the goalkeeper, and the goalie just came out and claimed it 2 or 3 times. Flint surely got to be better running in, but what he tries to do is stand still and just out jump people. But Yeah, I think it's just too obvious with him at times, and I don't think the experiment of throwing him up front worked either yesterday. He didn't win anything really, did he? In the end, unfortunately.
No, I could see the logic in it.
Oh, I could 100%. I think it was worth a gamble while we were sat in the stand, going just throw him up there. But
I think he won a couple of knockdowns.
He did. I think we lost more when Akins came out of the attack and went into defence. Yeah. I think Akins was winning more. And I've seen some comments on Facebook. He was my man of the match, Akins was, personally. I thought he was fantastic. I thought he won everything in the air. I thought his touch was great. He laid off some brilliant passes. He laid off the ball for Hewitt for the cross for the goal. But I think we were winning more in the air with him playing than we were with when we moved him back to defence. But the one thing on the corner as well that always annoys me is why Barry doesn't go up. Like, I know it's the pace they keep him back for, but there's faster players. Like they'll send Reed up and put Barry back, and I'm like, I get it to a point, but there's faster players who are smaller, like Blake Tracy or Lewis, who could also have pace and go back. And we've got a 6'2", whatever he is, striker stood on the halfway line. Get him up there.
6'2" defender.
Sorry, ex-striker.
Come on, Nigel will be on you. Clive, on the Lucas Akins thing, very, very briefly, I've seen your name pop on a lot of Mansfield Town groups over the last 24 hours or so, and quite often you're on a Lucas Akins defensive mission.
I know, I shouldn't rise to it. I just cannot buy the rampant criticism that some of our fans have where Akins is concerned. Are they missing what we're seeing? Because you're sure the lad's not banging goals in, but if that all is for, it bloody well isn't. He contributes to the game in a way consistently that none of the other players are able to do. Every player trusts him. The manager trusts him. He's able to drag away 2 defenders every time he moves forward, and he gets no credit from some quarters for it. Now, I'm not in love with the lad, but I think we really have to be more sensible in the way we criticise the team. I don't think the team is worthy of too much criticism anyway, and perhaps that's the problem. That when you can't find anybody else to criticise, poor old Lucas is the target.
I do understand why, because obviously, when you're up there as a striker, Jim, you are looked as the one to be scoring goals, but his contribution, it can't be underestimated. And I think one thing where he's strongest for me is if we do drop maybe to a 4-3-3 and get him into wide positions. When he's in a wide position, that's where Lucas Akins is most effective. And now that Gregory is sort of edging himself back, and Nigel Clough, I think, will utilise him. He'll probably start on New Year's Day. Wouldn't surprise me to see. I think Akins might be given that role to go back into a more wider position and maybe relieve some of that tension as well. I'm not saying wing back by any stretch of the imagination, but in a wide attacking sense, I think that's where he can do some real danger.
He's happier outright, isn't he? But I think he was better last season, to be fair, as a general thing. But I think with Akins, sometimes he looks a bit ungainly, doesn't he? His touch can let him down a bit sometimes. I think that doesn't help people getting frustrated with him. But there's no doubt he does contribute a lot. He does a lot of the hard yards and takes a lot of the sort of stick-off centre-backs and full-backs. And Clough likes him anyway. It don't matter. Clough's not going to listen to anybody else. Clough's in a circle of the people he trusts, isn't he? So it don't make any difference about all the noise,
Rightly so. He's never made a mistake, has he? He has a bad touch, but he doesn't ever.
Well,
he never really. I don't think cost us.
I don't want to be picky, but he cost us the game at Everton in the EFL Trophy.
That is true. That was a long trip for nothing. So yeah. I forgot about that. There's been a lot of positives between there. I forgot that.
Also remember, like Barry, sometimes he doesn't know where he's going to be playing. So it's very hard to sort of get touchy-feely sometimes with positions, but you don't know where you're going to be. Right back, right wing, up front.
I think he plays 3 positions, Akins, didn't he? He was at right wing for a bit. He obviously started up front and then ended up at right wing back.
Yeah, that's what Nigel Clough's all about, and that's what we're certainly learning. Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. We'll talk about Bowery there for a minute. And Emily says, I'd love to see Bowery score. Now, Emily, it has happened, believe it or not. A few seasons ago, he was top scorer. He was a striker. Son of Bert was a striker.
Son of Bert, the Port Butchers. Clive told us yesterday.
Absolutely. She says, I'd love to see Bowery score. My son's favourite player, and we're hoping he's going to start on New Year's Day, as my son is a mascot and wants to come out with him as he did last time. I'd probably say it's a safe bet that Bowery will be started. I agree Akins gets a lot more criticism than is necessary, but don't you agree that... Don't you agree that he doesn't have enough pace to be up front? I think he does lack the pace sometimes, but it's the versatility utility like that Simon says. He holds up the ball, creates space, and certainly does that. And Evans has started to benefit in recent weeks as well. Marie adds, poor Akins gets battered by the defence, and the officials give him nothing. Chris says it's been noticeable when he's missing as well. So lots of different opinions on all things Lucas Akins. Keep your comments and questions and opinions coming in. But that is it in terms of looking back at Peterborough and Reading, because as this show is aptly titled, Alan, 2024, the year of the Stag, and it certainly has been Mansfield Town's year, hasn't it?
It certainly has. Promotion, 11th in League One, coming up to New Year's Day. What more can you ask?
I think when we sat here this time last year, Clive, we did wonder what may lay ahead for us, and we were certainly, on course for promotion. We were all expecting us to get over the line, but we still had a lot of work to do, and we've then gone on and built. In the summer, we were sort of sitting there and expecting us to be in a relegation dogfight. We're nowhere near that, although we know how the tide can certainly change. But at the end of this calendar year, we can look back and not just look back at it as one half where we got the job done and got over the line and delivered what was needed in terms of promotion. But we've also made terrific strides in our progression forward as a football club on and off the pitch.
Yeah, I think any sensible fan would have said before the season started that they would have been deliriously happy with where we now find ourselves as the new year approaches. No one expected it. We've won more games than we've lost. We've played with style and panache. We've not had the best of luck. All those things really qualify what we've had so far this season, which is better than expectation, in my opinion, anyway. And I think I said at the start, I'll be happy to finish one above the relegation zone because we need to get into this league, stay in this league, and then build in this league. Now, we're doing better than that. The danger we're doing better than that, and it certainly was earlier in the season when we had that winning run, is that people then started to have greater expectation for an outcome. They were expecting us to get into the promotion fight. Well, it might still happen, but let's just be happy. We're less likely to get relegated than we might have been. And I think we deserve a longer stay in this league. If we do get into the promotion dogfight at the end of the season through the playoffs, so be it. But if we don't, I can't see any reason to be despondent.
It certainly has been a year to look back on with pride, Jim. Other than the obvious, what's been the standout in terms of how Mansfield Town have progressed from this time last year when we were looking back on 2023 to this time now where we're looking ahead to what could be an interesting 2025?
I think the club's been true to what it's set out, what it said. It said we'll do this off the pitch and this on the pitch. And a lot of the time from a lot of clubs, it's just hot air, isn't it? And it's just pipe dreams. But they're actually doing what they said they were going to do. And it's, on the pitch, off the pitch with the same style. And I think the most pleasing thing is the stability and continuity amongst not only the squad, but the managerial staff. I think that's been a bedrock of the success, is the continuity and not chopping and changing. And I think that's credit to Radford, who a couple of times could have sacked Clough quite easily when the results weren't going his way. He's been rewarded now for having a bit of loyalty and faith. And I think that's pleasing. The continuity, we can look back and say we really are a properly run outfit. And I think that pays off with a bit of patience.
I think one thing for me, Nick, is obviously Nigel Clough had that automatic promotion clause extension trigger on his contract anyway, which gives him until the end of this season. Still a little bit up in the air. We'd like to know what happens going forward, but he still could have walked away in the summer after delivering promotion. But actually, him staying has been probably the bedrock to pushing us on to where we are now, which is in a good, stable position. And we're certainly now going up against teams who are going, this isn't a Mansfield Town side who are making the numbers up. This is a Mansfield Town side who are here to compete, and we've got to take these seriously.
Yeah, I think everyone's taking it seriously so far. I think that's probably why we found some games extremely difficult, because teams don't just turn up and expect to win. Bar the exception of probably Birmingham, who I think took us for granted a little bit. I think a lot of teams have set up to be difficult to beat. They haven't come up and tried to play a lot of attacking football against us. They have set up quite defensively, which Reading actually set up to hit us on the counter-attack, despite being at home and in the playoffs on Saturday, whatever day it was, on Sunday. So I think that's credit to Nigel and all the players that we're not looked at as like a Crawley who people go, well, they're going to go down, aren't they? we're looked at as a serious outfit, and that's a lot of it is down to Clough. And we talked about yesterday the respect that the club now garners from other people in the Football League, in the Premier League. I've seen fans talk about Mansfield, and I think a lot of that does stem from Nigel and how he approaches. You look at interviews where we've lost, maybe controversially, and then you look at the interviews of the likes of Steve Evans and other managers who straight away are slating players, referees. Nigel just delivers it as he would if he was sat here in this room. And I think that filters through the club, through the fans, through the players. There's just a layer of respect, both given outwardly and received inwardly as well.
Do you feel like he had a bit of a wobble early on this year, Nigel Clough? Because I remember going to the evening with him when he was clearly wanting to get away to the pub quiz, and who can blame him? Because everyone loves a good quiz. Talking of which, get your pens ready. But he did seem like he was a little bit waning, like he was tired. But it almost feels like now he's had a new lease of life.
Well, I think it's, getting the promotion on his CV again, under his belt, if you like. And, the Bishop Street's coming on, and it's same as Jim said, everything off the field and on the field is coming to fruition, or it seems to be, and things are moving in a forward direction. And like Nick says as well, I know we keep harping on about it, but a lot of people talk about Mansfield Town, apart from the Reading comms yesterday, and they were very derogatory about us. Not they were, which weren't very nice. So I can't wait for them to come on Easter Monday. We'll see how they cope then.
Absolutely, we will. Go on, Jim.
I just want to say it's a much different environment now this season, isn't it? It's a lot more different ask, different pressure, and everybody's happier, aren't they? It's less stressy now because it's a different ask. And isn't it amazing that injuries seem a lot better?
We're getting
You
there.
notice that?
Yeah, I think the atmosphere at the ground's different as well, isn't it? Because you can go to a game, and if we do lose, isn't the end of the world, is it?
No.
I don't think anyone came away from Reading anything other than pleased with how we've played. I don't think, obviously there was disappointment, but when we lost to the likes of Crawley, or you lose at home to Barrow, you go, oh my God, we should have beat them.
Yeah.
But because in this league, there's no one really, we have the right to say, oh, we should beat them. It's, we're just along for the ride, aren't we? And there's less stress in the crowd, there's less stress in the players.
Lots of encouragement, didn't there? And no booing at all.
Nothing.
Any booing at all.
Even when we've been behind in games, there's just an acceptance that, we'll come back, we'll be fine. Or if we do lose, we've lost to Reading, who in the Premier League 10 years ago. When we lost to Alfreton, didn't they beat United?
Yeah.
The stat, something like that. They beat played United, and we just lost to Alfreton. So you put that into perspective, and, the reward for the fans of going to the likes of Alfreton 10 years ago and now going to Reading, Barnsley, Charlton, Wigan. That's what it's all about for me in this league.
Clough lives and breathes it. I think as long as we're in this moment that we are and things are good to be around, I can't see him being able to walk away. I think his stickability with the job will be tested when we go through a really bad time. So I'm not saying he's a walker, because he's not, but I think while it's like it is, he'll find it very difficult to walk away. Very, very,
Probably thinking of Burton, same level.
Yeah.
Can we get where they got to?
There's definitely something about him now, Clive, isn't there? He has had like a little bit of fresh air. And I think one thing which is fair to say is that Nigel Clough's ambitions going forward seem to be matched by the board, even though we're not, splashing a massive amount of cash on transfers. And I don't think we will again in January. We did, pay money to go and get a striker in Will Evans, but we've invested it in other areas. And I think Clough is not just about on the pitch and developing on the pitch, but he seems invested in being able to do it off the pitch as well, because he knows if you create an atmosphere which is so unique, like we have amongst our fans, it will, have the domino effect down to the players, which will then have a domino effect into results, etc., and etc., etc. And that's been a big part of how we've progressed from, away at Stockport on New Year's Day this year to Reading yesterday.
I think the word consistency is underused, and we need to bring it into this conversation, because that's exactly what we've been. That doesn't mean to say you win every game or win every game with a plum, but what we've done is created an impression in the league of a team that's well constructed, well managed, well resourced, and we have now, as someone's already mentioned, we have the respect of other football clubs. They don't treat us as that little town in North Notts anymore. It's a little town in North Notts that's got a football team that's punching well. The fans themselves at other clubs have got a great deal of respect for us, because we're one of the best supported away teams. Considering the size of our home support, how many people do we take to away games as a percentage? It's huge.
It's
And
mentioned a
Alan,
lot
I'll
as
pick
well,
you on
that.
one thing that not everybody in Reading was critical. I went on the fan zone, and there were a lot of those people there were saying Mansfield could have won that game and probably arguably should have taken a point. They could see what we see, which is a team that's working hard, and on another occasion would have taken the points. But you're going to get knobheads everywhere you go, and so if people want to have a go at our club because of whatever reasons, that's up to them. But the respect is the important thing, isn't it? I think what Clough has managed to engender at every level is a degree of respect, and he can stay in the game with Mansfield Town as long as it suits him. The question is, will it suit his personal life to continue to be a professional football manager for much longer? I don't know his financial circumstances. I'm assuming he doesn't have to draw a wage to survive. He's got a family. He's spent a lot of his career away from him. I guess he wants to hang his boots up at some point. But whether that's the end of this season or next season or whatever remains to be seen. The one thing's for sure, though, the club itself has to have some contingency in place because at some point we are going to have to replace him. And I personally think there is an opportunity growing within the club at the moment.
There certainly is. Hello there, I'm the manager now, but we'll talk about that on the.
We're getting Welsh players, are we?
Yeah.
We'll have Evans taking over now, Aaron Lewis. That's another podcast for another day for sure. Keep your comments coming in about 2024. What have you enjoyed? What have you not enjoyed? Best moment, worst moment, best pie, best sausage roll, whatever you want. Best Nando's, best toilet facilities if you're Clive. Let us know what's the favourite for you. Emily's been in touch and says, let's keep Nigel Clough until he retires. Not sure I can cope without his sensible approach. Simon says, away days have been brilliant. Seems a real connection between players and supporters. Loved it this year. Paul says we need to sign Nigel ASAP. His passion and feelings towards the team and the club are special. Marie says Garns will stay as long as Alfie is there. All together on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Oh
my God. Chris has also been in touch to say, Clive, we have knobheads here that have an ego at our own club as well. And Clive also says, sadly, so true. He said that without moving his lips.
Well said, Clive.
Well said, Clive. Well said, Clive. 2024, Jim, has been a great year, as we said. Obviously, promotion is a great part of it. But as well, I think what we have to say as a club is, business-wise, we've done a very, very smart thing. Promotion always pretty much guarantees that you're going to sell well in your season tickets. We get a good crowd now. We pretty much sell out every single game. Off the pitch, we've made slow but sure progressions in terms of fan zones with the new marquee, as long as it's not windy. We've got a new potential club shop coming, which was mentioned ages ago, up at that marquee, and there's shipping containers which have been put up there now as well, which I think are going to form part of it. There's a lot more sort of going on. Bishop Street's being done, but all of that has come about as well because we're being sensible in terms of the playing budget and the transfer budget. And when you get promoted to a new division, it's very easy to go, right, we need to get the checkbook out, we need to splash the cash, we need to strengthen. But what Nigel Clough did superbly well in the summer was bringing the quality that we needed, but without putting a hefty price tag on it. And I think that's a big part of it as well, isn't it? That, January we could have signed Lee Gregory for money, waited until the summer, etc., etc. Those little 1% which add up to form part of the bigger biscuit mix.
Absolutely. I mean, our best signings this summer just gone. Dave and Gregory and I think Backwus, they're all on a free, weren't they? So, you're talking a lot of money saved, and it's fantastic business. And Keeler Dunn, we paid 25 grand for him and sold him for, I don't know what the actual figure was, about £1 million, wasn't it? Something like that. Anyway,
750, I think.
I mean, it's fantastic business, isn't it? Whatever way you look at it, and I know he'll probably get booed when he comes back here, but when you look at his story with us, it was a brilliant story for us on the pitch and business-wise. But I agree, things they're good on and off the pitch. I just hope the focus stays. The priority is on the pitch, though. Like I say, like you just alluded to it, everything's falling into place. But when you do well on the pitch, that all follows pretty easily and naturally. The focus has got to be on the team first and foremost. Definitely. But I agree. Like Clough, he spends the money like it's his own. You you can't jeopardise the sustainability of the club. And that'd be criminal.
Yeah, well, I was just going to add on to what Jim said there. Anybody that wants to, who they look at buying for Mansfield Town, they're going to look twice now and think about it, aren't they? Oh, Mansfield, they're doing quite well, well-run club, got a decent manager, everything seems to be going nice. John and Carolyn at the helm, looks good.
Clough's a big pull, isn't he? Clough is a big pull.
Yeah,
to a lot
it might be another 20% to them, whereas otherwise they might go somewhere else.
We're an easy sell, aren't we? It's not going to be difficult to get players in.
I don't think so. Not with the league position, the training ground, Clough. We get good press, don't we? There's not a lot of bad press around Mansfield. I think it's one of the key
excellent podcast as well. Don't forget.
Fantastic podcast. Yeah, which one, Clive?
First rate, yeah.
The brilliant PA announcer. Couldn't hear the one at Reading. Couldn't hear him, Alan.
No,
That's
couldn't
one
hear
good
him.
thing for you.
No.
Couldn't hear him. To say the stadium was massive. Couldn't hear a thing. Rubbish.
Has he got my stuff?
We brought your equipment with it. But no, it's a really easy sell for Mansfield. And I think that's probably summed up by our recruitment. There's no panics, is there? There's no last minute, let's bring him in at the last minute and panic anymore. That doesn't happen anymore, does it? It's all thought about. And I imagine whoever he's going to bring in January is lined up now, done,
I would have
sorted.
thought so.
I'd be very surprised if it's not
Yeah.
already. He's got an army of scouts that head out every weekend. I'm amazed if it's not. Whatever business there is to be done is not already done.
Yeah, we must be close. I'm sure that we'll find out more in the coming weeks. We'll talk a little bit more about the transfer window at the back end of the show. I've just had a biscuit. It's really tickled the back of my throat. Keep your comments coming in. Have your say on your team. Mark says the best thing about being a Stag this last couple of seasons has been seeing stability across most fronts. We have a steady, albeit aging squad. That is a little bit of a concern, to be fair. It's almost never a bad day out with the Stags, even with an unfavourable result. I'll scroll down because it's a long comment. We see the lads working hard. I don't think I've ever seen the club ticking along so well. We were sort of alluding to that in the back of the car, weren't we, Clive, on the way home yesterday? The comparisons from when we were last in this division. We didn't really invest in the squad. We didn't build from it. We didn't bring good quality in, and we sort of kept at the same level. What we've done this year is, from day one, we've improved day by day by day and learnt from our mistakes as we've gone.
Yeah, I think it's been an education for the owners, the directors, and the management and the fans. We've actually seemingly we've made mistakes as a club. We've made recruitment mistakes. I think the owners have made some mistakes strategically with the club, but they're learning from it, and hopefully, as a result of learning from it, you don't make the same mistakes twice. And I think the club is in a better position because of that experience than it would have been. I think they'll continue to do things in a way that I wouldn't do them, but there again, it's not my money. And I think what we have to consider is where the club started from. I think it's your point. Where we were when we start this examination and where we are today, completely different.
Yeah, and there's just more and more hope for what's going to come for the future. Let's finish our reflections then on the year before we take a break and head into the quiz all about 2024. Alan, in the future, when your grandkids have grown up a little bit and you're telling them about the calendar year of the Stag 2024, how are you going to describe what's happened over the last 12 months? What story are you going to tell?
The winning mentality, I think. Once you can get on a roll and you just keep going. It's similar to what Nottingham Forest are doing at the moment. They seem to be, keep going, irrespective of, how good or how bad the team are. And Mansfield, it's just a winning mentality. Every time they went out, there were togetherness, and it just, it did it for me. You could see what was going off, and we've seen it before where they've just failed, and like the one goal that we didn't get, that didn't. But that was a time when, I don't think we'd have gone up, or if we'd have got up, we wouldn't have stayed up. We did put everything in place that needed to be in place, and I think they'll just thrive on it. It'll be good.
Yeah, well, that's why I think forget promotion this year. I think if we went up this year, we'd get hammered in the Championship next year, and it would do a lot of damage momentum wise. And that's going off a bit of a tangent, but just thought I'd chuck that in there.
I think if I was to describe the year looking back, would be that I think what it summed it up for me. If you rewatch the changing room interviews on promotion, it wasn't just words that footballers spout. It was from the heart. And I think
Yeah.
every single one of them players, even the ones that you think maybe were done, the Maccas of the world, where you think,
Yeah.
oh, is he really going to be playing in League One?
Yeah.
And you could tell he wanted to fight for it, and he wouldn't have accepted, I don't think. If the club said, I'm not so sure. You look at Boateng halfway through the season, was told, yeah, you can go to Swindon if you want, off you go. And he went, no, I want to play. And he's still here now and he's playing. You look at Aaron Lewis, who's fought over the summer. He must have.
His
Yeah.
transformation.
I don't know what he's done over the
unreal.
summer, but at the end of last season, he was a bit part player, and it's very easy for a team that gets promoted to do away with bit part players and bring somebody else in. He's fought to the front of that queue, hasn't he, Aaron Lewis?
It's the
More than
moustache.
anyone. And it's the tash, but it's just the feeling that every single one of those players, apart from Tom Nichols, clearly wants to be here at the minute. They just love being at the club, and you get that from Kilgore, who's been out for a year, to
Oh my god,
to players like Lee Gregory who've come in from a much higher level and feel like they want to be here and they're fighting for the cause, and it's brilliant to see. And I think that's the one thing I would take away from this squad and this period of time, is that I've never seen a squad want to play for the shirt so much. We were saying yesterday, that squad of, the early 2000s, when we had the Lawrences, Disleys, Corden, Williamson, whatever. Let's be honest, as soon as things got tough, they all wanted to be off. Regardless if they were Mansfield lads, and we love them all to bits, but they went, didn't they? As soon as there was a resemblance of things weren't going our way, they all disappeared. This squad's different to that. They all feel like they want to be here regardless, and I think it helps. A lot of them have been higher, not necessarily failed, but have been higher, have had there, and they've come back down now to this level and are happy to be here. I think that's a massive difference from what we've experienced before.
Huge difference. I think one thing for me, Clive, is the emotion which is within that squad, because like Nick alluded to there, you watch back those interviews, which I watched a day or so ago, and you see the raw emotion in players' eyes. You're not just seeing, elation. You are seeing a deep emotion about the accumulation of months and months of hard work. And you still see it now when we're fighting to try and get back in the game, going in for tackles, trying to push higher up the pitch and develop and play. You see it at the end of games. Peterborough, we win 3-0, and Stephen Quinn is dancing like an 18-year-old who's just discovered the power of love. There's so much delight and joy and emotion within there, and we all go through it together, whether it's the highs of winning week in, week out to get over the line and get promotion, or the lows of going 3 or 4 games without scoring a goal. We get through it together and we work hard regardless. And it's that for me, which I'll look back on in terms of fondness of this year. That's just a big part. Promotion is just the cherry on top of the cake, or should I say the sugar on top of the biscuit.
I think it's a virtuous circle, because the fans themselves are demonstrating a maturity that wasn't there a few seasons ago. They're not jumping down players' throats when the results don't necessarily arise. So they're getting better support from the terrace. I think the players are reflecting that. Also, I think we haven't this season got any bad apples. We haven't got an Andy Cook or a Danny Johnson or a Kyle Walker going back a few years ago. We were owning it for themselves, and the team spirit is better for it. Unless I'm missing something, because obviously we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, but they seem to be very, very unified.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is probably the key word, unified.
I don't think the squad looking at it would accept a bad apple anymore, Clive. When you see the likes of Kilgore and Flynn, I don't think they'd accept a bad apple anymore. I think they get weeded out pretty quickly.
Which I don't think would have been the case in that first year, and that's what takes time to develop. Keeley says every single player deserves their shirt. They're a great squad, and they speak highly of each other and are a team of players. The best one I've seen in 30 years. I absolutely echo that. Keep your comments, questions, opinions, thoughts, whatever, observations coming in, and have your say on your team. We're going to take a very short break, and when we come back, we're going to eat more biscuits, and we're going to play along with a quiz. So get your pens and papers ready. It's time for the big quiz of 2024. Coming up after these. You're back with the show for the fans, by the fans. Why? Because Mansfield always matters. This is our look back on 2024, and it has come to that time in the show where, as you know, every single year, long-term listeners and viewers of Mansfield Matters podcast will know that we do a end of season quiz. Don't worry though, this is not a quiz where I'm asking you to name the last 3 Doctor Who's who may or not have been in Broadchurch. This is not one of those quizzes where I'm asking you to name all the X Factor winners. This quiz is all about our beloved Mansfield Town, and more specifically, all about the last 12 calendar months. So we may well have spoken about some of the answers over the last 45 minutes or so. So you are going to need a bit of a pen and paper, and you are welcome to play along at home. We will, of course, give you the answers towards the end as well. Nick and Jim, if you could grip some paper off and pass it round for everyone as well. We'll put some little bit of music on the background as well, and we'll put and Clive, you can get yourself a bit of paper as well as we do that. As I will load up the big quiz. So you'll be able to see us there at the bottom of the screen, but we will go through all of these, so you'll have the questions on screen. Please don't reveal in the answer. Do you guys need something to lean on? You've got like one bit of paper there.
Well, I'll give to you.
Sure. Alan,
Yes, please.
There you go,
Thank
my friend.
you.
There's a book for you. So this is the big quiz. That was 2024 for quiz. Questions will come up on screen. I'll do the answers at the very end. So let's begin. If you want to play along in the comments, you can do so. I've turned the comments off here in the studio so you can't see them. Clive, please don't cheat if there's any answers in the comments. Play along fairly, as I'm sure you will. Right, question numero uno. Should have said there are 24 questions because it is the year 2024. There are 2 questions on each month, except for the month where we didn't play, and there are which makes 20 questions, and 4 questions at the end, all about the year in general. Here we go. You won't like this one. Imagining we kicked off at exactly 3 p.m. on New Year's Day and played 90 minutes straight through, so had no half time, etc. At what time would the Stags have scored their first goal of the year? So imagining we kicked off at exactly 3 p.m. on New Year's Day and played 90 minutes straight through, at what time would the Stags have scored their first goal of the year? Jimmy, are you sure you don't want something to lean on? You've got like one bit of paper. No, I ain't managing that. Man of many skills. Question number 2 is a little bit easier. 2 games fell victim to the weather in January. Who were the opponents for 1 point each? And what were the results in the rearranged games, also for 1 point each? So 2 games fell victim to the weather in January. Who were the opponents? And what were the results in the rearranged games? Moving on to February now, though, and it was a fruitful month in front of goal. How many goals did the Stags score in total in February for 1 point? And name every individual goal scorer for 1 point each. How many goals did the Stags score in February with 1 point? And name every goal scorer, individual goal scorer for 1 point each. Give you another 30 seconds on that one. So February is a fruitful month for a goal. How many goals did the Stags score? And name every individual goal scorer for 1 point each. Thumbs up when you're ready. Mainly from Clive, really, because I can see everyone else in the room. Clive's ready, I think. Everyone else ready? Yeah. Oh, good. Right. Next question. Question number 4. The Stags put 9 past Harrogate in a brilliant evening for the Hiram Boateng fan club. But prior to that game, when was the last time a Mansfield Town side had scored 9 in a competitive fixture? There are 2 answers to this. I'll give you a point if you get either one. If you get both, I might be kind and give you 2. The Stags put 9 past Harrogate in a brilliant evening for the Hiram Boateng fan club. But prior to that game, when was the last time a Mansfield Town side had scored 9 in a competitive fixture? No conferring, please. Question number 5.
Hang on a minute. I can't Google quick enough.
Yeah. Question number 5. March was a busy month with 4 away trips, but as the crow flies from One Call Stadium, how many miles did Cloughside travel that month? So you've got to try and remember who we played away in March, and then you've got to try and figure it out. Yeah, I will do closest wins, actually. I will do closest for a bonus point, for a point if no one gets it exactly, which I don't think anyone will. So, yeah, I'll be generous. So March was a busy month with 4 away trips, but as the crow flies from the One Call Stadium, how many miles did Cloughside travel that month?
Is that in One Direction?
One Direction, yeah.
Not the band.
Yeah, not the band. So to and from each ground, not the round trip.
Well, it's not to and from then, is it?
You know what I mean? I know what I meant.
You mean from our ground to
from
their
our
ground?
ground to theirs. Pedantic.
One way.
Pedantic.
Check with your quizzes. We have to be right, don't we, Alan? Alan said yes.
Alan won't join in, he just laughs. Alan won't join in with the abuse.
You said there's 24 questions, Craig.
Yeah.
God.
Hello. Question 6. Despite picking up good results in March, they only kept 1 clean sheet all month. Who was it against? So despite picking up good results in March, the Stags only kept 1 clean sheet all month. Who was it against? Pick any League 2 team and move on to the next question, really. Next one. April was a historic month, but started with a bit of a wobble. Who scored what proved to be a pivotal goal against Forest Green Rovers to earn a much-needed 1-0 win? April was a historic month, but started with a wobble. Who scored what proved to be a pivotal goal against Forest Green Rovers to earn a much-needed 1-0 win?
I love that, man. For the last one. Forest Green.
Could have played them away. We could have played them at home, or we could have played them home and away. Could have played them at home in April. Could have played them away, so you know, might not be a thing. Next question, question 8, I believe. Promotion was sealed with a victory over Accrington Stanley. Name the 18 who will forever be a part of Stag's history. 1 point each, and you get double points if you get the entire 18. I love Clive's reaction. Thing is, you've been on this podcast how many years now, Clive?
I don't know, but I'm 72. I don't think I can afford any more of this.
Retirement is due from the podcast. If anyone wants to take Clive's place for the quizzes...
I'm just hoping I can survive to question 24.
I think you will, don't worry. The promotion was sealed with victory over Accrington Stanley. Name the 18 who will be forever part of Stag's history. 1 point apiece, double points if you get the entire 18. I think that's the easy thing to do, to get 18 written down and then and go from there, really.
It's a load of cock.
Just write 2 more names down. Nick's
I've
got 16.
got to think of them first.
Alan, how are you getting on over there?
Not so good.
Jim, hating life?
Yeah. 14 teams.
Just make some more. Derek Asamoah, was he there? Holding goal.
Right, moving on to the next one then. Now preparing for life in League One, the boys enjoyed a training camp in Portugal, but who did the Stags face in a friendly whilst over there? What was the score? And if you think the Stags scored, who scored the goals? Or goal?
Repeat the question, please.
Now, it is on the screen as well, but now we're preparing for life in League One. The boys enjoyed a training camp in Portugal, but who did the Stags face in a friendly whilst out there for 1 point? What was the score in said friendly for another point? And if you think the Stags scored in that game, who scored the goal/goals, depending on what you think the score was? I'm going to be kind and give you a little bit of a clue. It was a Premier League side, and their under 21s.
Their youth division.
Their youth division.
I got that, but I went touch.
Question
Was that
10.
question 9, was it? Right.
Yeah, it was. Question 10. In July, who were the only side the Stags failed to beat in their pre-season preparation? We mentioned them earlier on. We did. You did.
We're not even halfway through yet.
Question 11. After 2 further friendlies, League One life got underway at Barnsley with a fine 2-1 win. Name the starting lineup. 1
Oh,
point
piss
each.
off.
I muted you in a minute. We only need 11 for this one, by the way. Subs don't count. You're listening to the audio version of this, by the way. Well done. You can go to our YouTube page or Facebook page if you're listening to the audio version, and you'll see the questions on your screen. And as more of a delightful treat for you, really, look in the bottom corner of your screen where you can see Clive get more and more annoyed as each question comes out. My favourite thing. I mean, look at how glum his face is right now. Just look at that. Look at how glum his face is right now. Absolutely loving life. Yeah, question
right.
2, yeah. Next question. I don't know why I didn't put it on full screen earlier, to be fair. Next question is, our League Cup ambitions were ended thanks to a penalty shootout defeat at Bolton. Despite being 3-2 up at one point in the shootout, which Stags players failed to convert as Bolton completed the U-turn to knock the Stags out? 1 point each. I'll give you a clue. There's 3. And I'll give you another clue. One of them is no longer here. So I'm being nice to you on that question, to be fair. I'm giving you some clues. Next question out of the ranks is... September saw the Stags progressing well in the league. Who did they beat? 1 point each. And what were the results? 1 point each. Just think back to September. Harder than what you think, isn't it? When it's only a couple of months ago, in reality, but... Your next question is... During the final game of September, Christy Pym did what he does best, saving a penalty at 0-0. How many minutes into the game were we when Pym did a Pym?
Don't know.
You can write don't know, or, you know,
Yeah.
just pick a number between 1 and 90 and you might get lucky. I'll give you an extra clue. It was in the first half.
Oh, scribble that out.
Far too nice to you lot today. October saw that form continue in a month that included a 1-1 draw with multi-million pound spending Birmingham City. I've missed an S there. How many years have passed since their previous meeting between the two clubs? And I'm well aware I've missed an S, so anyone that's... You missed an S! Fuck off.
Is that
Questions?
15?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, this is 16 now. Another first was the Stags' trip to Wigan's Brick Community Stadium, with the club not meeting for how many seasons in the period between their last encounter? Another number-based question for you. Hmm. 17. November will now be renamed No Goal in the League Vember. See what I did there? Excluding any added on time, how many minutes of football passed between Ben Quinn's goal at Curzon Ashton and Stephen McLaughlin's strike at Stevenage, both in the FA Cup? Again, I'll give you a little bit of a clue. Do 3 times 90 because we didn't score for 3 league games.
Yeah.
And then the rest is up to you.
Yeah, I thought of that.
I'm just saying goodbye to the last of our listeners, Craig. All right.
I've got no time for your negativity, Clive, to be honest.
They're still here, Clive. They are
Still here.
I don't care what they're here.
This is
They've died on us.
This is gripping content.
Well, at least if they've died, they've left the laptop on.
Exactly. I don't care either way. 18. A postponed trip to Leyton Orient due to international call-ups gave us all a chance to do some early Christmas shopping. Which other 2 fixtures have also been called off due to the international staggies? So a postponed trip to Leyton Orient due to international call-ups gave us all a chance to do some early Christmas shopping. Which other 2 fixtures have also been called off this season due to the international staggies? Question 19. We're in December now, guys. We're in December. December saw the Stags surrender a 1-goal lead at Bolton, after which player picked up a second yellow card after scoring the Stags goal?
Don't know. No clue. I refuse to admit this answer.
And the last question, I think, of the one. So, a jolly big fella came to Mansfield before Christmas in Rotherham United's dugout, but who scored the Stags' only goal in a 1-0 win, which was the final win on home turf this year? So they are all your questions on the months. There are now 4 questions on the year in general, and the first one is this one. Where the mighty Mansfield we always win away is factually inaccurate, as we've actually lost some away games this year. But in the league only, what is our win percentage on the road in all of 2024? Where the mighty Mansfield we always win away is factually inaccurate, as we've lost some games away this year. But in the league only, what is our win percentage on the road in all of 2024?
Can we have a closest point for that one in case?
Yeah, I'll do closest to. Oh my God! Andy Garner couldn't contain himself when talking about Alfie Kilgore's physique upon his return from injury. How many days into 2024 was it when Oh my God made his return in the 87th minute against Blackpool?
Can we have a nearest?
No, we cannot. Yeah, go on then. Yeah, go on. Why not? I'll give you a nearest 2.
Thank you.
2 left, and I think these were relatively easy. During the celebrations of promotion, Jordan Barry was insistent he'd asked Nigel Clough to play in what position against Barrow on the final day of the season? And the final one is this. If 84 is the answer, what is the question? Best question will win point. So if 84 is the answer, what is the question? So there you go. Right, we're going to mark our own. We'll go through these quite quickly. So here we go then. Imagining we kicked off at exactly 3 p.m. on New Year's Day and played 90 minutes straight through, at what time would the Stags have scored their first goal of the year? The correct answer is 3:49 p.m. We scored in the 49th minute. What did you get? Did you get 3:49, Alan?
No.
Jim, did you?
No.
Clive, did you?
No,
What did you get, Clive?
32 minutes.
Alan?
I got 56. So, yeah.
So you didn't write it as a time, no?
No.
Jim, did you write it as a time? Nick?
3:34.
Jim is the closest
Well
with
done,
3:49. So I'm going to, with whatever he said, 4
Well
p.m.
done, Jim.
So point to Jim. The correct answer was 3:49 p.m. 2 games fell victim to the weather in January. Who were the opponents for 1 point each? So a point if you got Forest Green Rovers and a point if you got Sutton United. What were the results in the rearranged games? If you got 1-1-0 for Forest Green and drew 1-1 for Sutton, you have a point apiece.
I got 1 point for that.
So is it 1 point if you got Forest Green 1-0? That's 1 point.
1 point if you got Forest Green.
Right. Okay. And then 1 point.
Yeah, and 1 point for the result. Next one, February was a fruitful month in front of goal. How many goals did the Stags score? The correct answer was 20. And here are your individual goal scorers for 1 point each. Davis Keeler-Dunn, Ollie Clark, Tom Nichols, Will Swan, Lucas Akins, Hiram Boateng, Uncle Stephen, and Bailey Cargill.
So if you don't get the question, you don't get 20 right, but you can name some of the scorers.
Correct. You get some bonus points there, Clive. Yeah, correct. Do you need me to go through them again, or have you got them?
Got 'em.
Okay. Your next one, the Stags put 9 past Harrogate in the brilliant evening for the one-man Hiram Boateng fan club. Prior to that game, when was the last time Mansfield had scored 9 in a competitive fixture? I will accept either 1932 or 1962. Clive, what did you get?
Got 62.
Well done. I can't
Well
offer
done.
anyone. Yeah, I can't offer anyone.
I got Rob.
I can't offer anyone a bonus point because Clive got it correct. Next one. March was a busy month with 4 away trips, but as the crow flies from the One Call Stadium, how many miles did Clough side travel? Clive, what did you get?
670.
Alan?
626.
Jim? Nick?
327.
I'm going to give you a bonus point each for Jim and Nick because I can't do the maths to work out who was closest. The correct answer was 443.4.
Hold on.
Hold on.
Just a minute.
So point on the road or was a point on the road?
Man, you know it. Sorry, Ed. I read that wrong. I put 426. Not 62. I said 626. I put 426.
What do you think? Do you think
I
you
don't-
changed it or not?
I changed it.
You need a microphone, Jim.
No
Jim.
problem.
Yeah.
No problem. I
What
don't
do
know
you-
why I
Tipex
said
is still drying
62.
now,
What do you think, Nick? Should we give him a point or
I
not?
feel like a man who makes a living out of speaking out of a microphone. Ought to have got it right first time.
No
Right,
problem.
people have spoken.
My mistake. My
Alex.
mistake.
Yeah, have a point now. Have a point. Have a point.
Okay.
You deserve a point.
Despite picking up good results in March, the Stags only kept 1 clean sheet all month against who? The correct answer for question 6 was Newport County.
I remember that one.
Question 7. April was a historic month, but who scored the pivotal goal against Forest Green? The answer was Tom Nichols.
Yay.
It was indeed. Next question. Promotion was sealed with victory over Accrington. Name the 18 who will be forever etched in Mansfield's history. So here we go. 1 point each for Christy Pym, Lucas Akins, Aidan Flint, Jordan Bowery, Stephen McLaughlin, Lewis Reed, Hiram Boateng, Uncle Stephen, Giorgio Mauricio, Davies Keeler-Dunn, Tom Nichols, Aaron Lewis, Ollie Clark, James Gale, Will Swan, Elliot Hewitt, and the 2 unused subs were Scott Flinders and the forgotten man, George Williams.
Oh, I had Brunton Cargill.
Oh, there you go.
Brunton Cargill I had instead of them other 2. I would have been a full ass then.
So close. If you got the entire 18, double your points. I don't think anyone will have, but there you go. Next one. Now preparing for life in League One, the boys enjoyed a training camp in Portugal, but who did the Stags face in the friendly? The correct answer was Chelsea under-21s. The score was we won 2-1. And if you want bonus points for the scorers, Ben Quinn and Stephen McLaughlin were the goal
I
scorers.
thought Macca had gone. I didn't for it. I thought, yeah.
So we
We get 1 point for Chelsea
Sorry, hang
under
on.
21.
Go on, Clive.
1 point for Chelsea and 1 point for the score.
1 point for Chelsea, 1 point for 2-1, 1 point for Ben Quinn, 1 point for Stephen McLaughlin. In July, who were the only side the Stags failed to beat in their pre-season prep? The answer was Alfreton Town. We drew 1-1.
Yeah, we did.
We drew 1-1 at Alfreton.
Can I just say we played Leicester City behind closed doors and lost, and Marisette got injured.
Yeah, we did. I'll tell you what, if you've written that down, I'll give you a bonus point because I didn't write it in my answers because it was a behind closed doors game. But I'll let you have it, Clive, just because then you might find the will to live. It might be the difference. You
Sounds
never
like
know.
having Google was a benefit after all.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Next one. After 2 further friendlies, life got underway in League One at Barnsley with a 2-1 win. Name the starting lineup. 1 point each for the following people: Christy Pym, Jordan Bowery, Aidan Flint, Dave, Fraser Blake Tracy, Lewis Reed, Kiana Bacchus, Uncle Stephen, Davis Keeler Dunn, Lucas Akins, and he goes by the name of Lee Gregory. Well done if you got any of them right. League Cup ambitions were ended thanks to a penalty shootout defeat at Bolton, despite being 3-2 up at 1 point in the shootout. Which Stags players failed to convert as Bolton completed the U-turn to knock the Stags out? The correct answers were Hiram Boateng, Aaron Lewis,
Will Swan.
and Will Swan were the correct answers. 1 point for Boateng, 1 point for Lewis, 1 point for Swan. Your next one. September saw the Stags progressing well in the league. Who did they beat for 1 point each? So 1 point if you got Cambridge United, Shrewsbury Town, Northampton Town. The results: we beat Cambridge 2-1, so that's 1 point. Beat Shrewsbury also 2-1, 1 point. And 2-0 at Northampton. Now, if you were clever, what you'd have worked out, Nick, is at this point, could have maybe realised.
I didn't.
Because
completely forgot.
during the final game of September, Northampton, Christy Pym did what he does best, saving a penalty at 0-0. But how many minutes into the game were we when Pym did a Pym? The correct answer was 38.
Oh, I put 39.
38 minutes.
35.
I got 39. Is there a point for closest?
Clive, what did you get?
What question number are we on?
14.
I put don't know.
Okay,
No.
in which case Nick gets
Yeah,
a
you win.
point for being the closest.
I put 69 when you told us it was the first half.
Yeah. I put 58.
October for question 15. Saw that form continue in a month that included a 1-1 draw with multi-million spending. I missed the S, you dickheads. Birmingham City. How many years have passed since the previous meeting? If you said 33, you'd be wrong. If you said 35, you'd be wrong. But if you said 34, you'd be right.
Winning.
Live, what did you say?
42.
Alan?
I got 70.
Jim, into a microphone, please, if you don't mind.
40 years.
Nick?
I wrote 23, but I meant 33. But yeah.
Still the closest.
What, 23?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's
So there you go, bonus point.
I love that.
I thought you said 40, didn't you?
I said 40,
Jim
yeah.
said 40.
Oh, he's slightly
Oh,
closer.
it's slightly closer. Jim gets the point now.
Sorry,
Can't do
mate.
math.
Rubbish.
Sorry, I
Rubbish.
apologise.
Question 16.
Take
Another
that one back up.
Another first was the Stags' trip to Wigan's Brick Community Stadium, with the clubs not meeting for how many seasons in the period between their last encounter? 22.
Oh, I got
Hey!
20. I got
Clive
20.
got it right though by the celebration, so
Well
no
done.
bonus point to anyone else.
Well done, Clive.
Question 17. November will now be renamed No Goal in the League Vember, excluding any added on time. How many minutes of football passed between Ben Quinn's goal at Curzon Ashton and Stephen McLaughlin's strike at Stevenage, both in the FA Cup? The correct answer, 322 minutes.
I've got 306.
338.
Way off.
338, did you say, Clive?
Yeah.
What did you get, Jim?
I'm way off.
What did you get, Nick?
I put 127, but I meant 327.
Bonus point to Jim. They're
Well done,
closest.
Oh, Jim.
Question 18. Postponed trip to Leighton Orient due to international call-ups gave us all a chance to do some early Christmas shopping. Which other two fixtures have also been called off due to the international staggies? Exeter away and Wickham away. Exeter and Wickham were the two correct answers.
Is that a point each? Or?
Point each, 1 point each, yeah. Question number 19. December saw the Stag surrender a 1-goal lead at Bolton. After which player
Don't
picked
know.
up a second yellow card after scoring the
Alistair
Stag's
Asher,
goal?
was it?
What did you write, Nick?
I wrote it on Boateng.
Well, you're correct then. Hiram Boateng is the correct
It
answer.
killed me to write it.
Now, for this question, you need to have written, I would like you to read out your answers for me. So, a jolly big fella came to Mansfield before Christmas in the Rotherham dugout, who scored the Stags' only goal in a 1-0 win, the final win on home turf. Clive, I'd like you to read out exactly what you've written on your paper, please.
Evans.
Evan.
Dave.
If you wrote Dave, you are correct.
Oh.
If you wrote Oshalaja, no points.
Quite right as well.
Dave is the correct answer. Next one. We're the Mansfield, the mighty Mansfield. We always win away is factually inaccurate. We've lost some away games this year. In the league only, what's our win percentage on the road in all of 2024? If you said 45%, you are correct. We've won 10 of 22 games.
44%.
Alan?
You've got to be close. That's way out. 70.
Jim?
I thought it was more than that. I thought 65%.
Clive?
57.
Bonus
44.
point
Well
for
done,
Nick.
Thank you.
The next one is as follows. Oh my God, Andy Garner couldn't contain himself when talking about Alfie Kilgore's physique upon his return from injury. How many days into 2024 was it when Oh my God made his return against Blackpool in the 87th minute? 278 days.
Oh!
What did you get?
280.
Nick?
231.
Nowhere near.
285.
Live, give yourself a bonus point.
How about it? Will do.
Has Clive regained the will to live?
He has just about. During the celebrations of promotion, Jordan Barrow was insistent he asked Nigel Clough to play in which position against Barrow on the final day of the season. The answer was goalkeeper.
Yeah.
And we still want to see it because he'd do a superb job.
all right,
He would be all right. And the final question. If 84 is the answer, what is the question? Clive, what did you put for this?
Goal scored in 2024.
Alan,
Points last season.
Jim,
Last time we stayed up in League One.
Nick.
I put points. Points.
For a man who's lost the will to live, he's got the question exactly right.
Well done, Clive.
Well done, Clive.
How many goals have the Stag scored in all competitions in 2024? Correct
Well
answer is
done.
84. So well done if you got any of those correct. Clive, tot up your scores. Everybody else here, if you wouldn't mind, please add up your scores as well. And keep your comments coming in as well. Let us know how you did at home. We love to hear from you and let us know how you did as well. And we'll get the questions off screen and go back to that screen so we can see Clive's lovely face.
There he is.
There he is. He's back there now.
Hello,
He's on the wrong
Clive.
side of the screen though now. I have no idea what's popped up in the WhatsApp in the comments whilst we've.
It's some form of herbalist,
I've been
man.
reading it.
Hounslow Town.
What bloody hell has happened there? Block user on.
No, don't block him.
Block him. Get him blocked.
Destiny Edwards, that is.
Destiny. Do one.
I bless him, worship. Oh, she's gone. She's
gone.
worshipping us then, Alan.
Oh,
Oh, she's doing. She's got
absolutely.
sickle cell
Yeah.
anemia, bless her.
Oh, I don't know. Bet she didn't do well in the quiz, did she?
No.
Right, anyway.
To be fair, she hung around for the
I
quiz.
She
certainly
did.
did.
Took her around. Right. Clive, what did you get?
39.
Alan,
34.
Jim,
47.
Nick.
I think.
51.
Oh!
Oh!
Well done,
Nick.
I
Nick.
think it's the 16th one.
Well
That
done.
was one, didn't it?
That was 2024.
Quality. One for Nick.
It is
Well
one
done,
for
Nick.
Well done, Nick. Oh, dear. Destiny has very much been blocked. Don't worry about that. And I'll tell you what else
Oh,
Destiny
you're
won't be doing. She won't be playing along with podcast predictions. So can you be the master or an embarrassing disaster? In this guessing game, there's a simple aim. It's outguess the rest and be the best. Win, lose or draw. Do you know the score? Who will be your hero to make sure you don't score 0? Yes, it may be fiction, but this is Podcast Predictions. Was the best player. And there you go. Podcast predictions time then. So we're going to be predicting for Bolton and Stockport. We won't manage to get a podcast in before that because for some reason I'm going to go back to work on Thursday. It's not fair, is it? It's not fair.
I do feel sorry for you a lot.
Absolute disgrace. And we're going to start with the man who is going to head into 2025 at the very top of the Podcast Predictions League, and that's Clive Parkin. So Bolton away, please. Bolton at home, please. Your prediction.
2-1 win. Aaron Lewis.
Nick, you're up next.
2-1 win. Will Evans.
Jim.
1-1. Aaron Lewis.
Al.
2-1 win. Dave.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 win, and I'm going to go for Jordan Bowery. For Stockport away, I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, and I'm going to go for Lee Gregory. Alan, Stockport away.
2-1 win. Lewis.
Jim.
1-0 defeat.
Yeah.
Christy Pym.
Nick.
1-1 Dave.
1-1 Dave. And Clive, finish us off, please.
0-0 Pym.
There you go.
Oh, Neil, that's brave, isn't it?
As
0-0.
always,
That's brave.
if you want to get involved with podcast predictions, you can do so. The link that you need is in the description. And a reminder, you must submit your guesses no later than 1 hour and 1 minute before kickoff of those respective games. Right, we're nearly at the end of the podcast, but before we go, 2025, Clive, is just around the corner, and with it, the start of the transfer window. We alluded to it a little bit earlier on. What do Mansfield need to do, in your opinion? What are you hoping for as the window opens in January?
A couple of young loanees from ideally Premiership club. One in midfield and one as a striker.
Nick?
I would suggest we need to get rid of a few. Nichols and Wayne, get Quinn out on loan.
Ben Quinn, you mean, not
Ben
Uncle
Quinn,
Stephen?
not Uncle Stephen. And pace up front and maybe a bit of cover at right back for Hewitt, for me.
Jim?
I agree with Clive. I think a midfielder who can get into the box and be dangerous, and an out-and-out number 9. And a couple of players out like McDonald, Nichols, Ben Quinn on loan. But I'm not bothered if they're on loan or permanent as long as they're the right bodies.
Alan?
I would say a striker, and like one or two's alluded to, somebody with a bit of pace.
I think that the biggest thing, Clive, is going to be the registration thing, because obviously that doesn't change, and we know that with Clive's destiny, we know that it's been a bit of a struggle with getting the player registrations in. Callum McDonald missed out. Surely he'll be heading out the door somewhere. But in terms of player slots, Ben Wayne, I don't think, obviously if we get rid of him, then that's a slot opened up, I think. Tom Nichols will be another one. Ben Quinn, if he goes out on loan, that won't open up a slot because unless we sign an underage player. The only other one would be what we do with George Williams. What's your opinion on that one, Clive? Would you look to move him on and open up a slot, or would you still keep him around? Sorry, Destiny. What would you do?
I look at it from the other end of the telescope here. I think for the benefit of the players concerned, Tom Nichols and George Williams have to be given new chances somewhere else, because whatever the reasons, they're not getting them here, and they're worth time on the pitch. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what the logic is. We'll never know probably, but they're not getting a chance with us. Let them go. Take them off the payroll. I don't think Ben Wayne has proved anything, so he ought to go back to at the end of his loan. Is that in January, the end of the loan?
It's season long, wasn't it?
It's a season long, but I'd be terminating it.
Yeah, I'd be terminating it.
Yeah, okay.
I agree with Wayne and Nichols.
But I think The others, I'd be cutting. McDonald's is a strange one, but I'd be happy to keep everybody else and get a couple of low knees in. Somebody with legs.
What is going on in this bloody chat? Look, so many people today going off. Usage multiple is now at no use. Clive, what are you doing?
Clive's invited some of his friends.
What on earth is going on there?
Nothing to do with me.
Associates have joined the chat.
What were you doing in that Nando's toilet? That's caused so much of this. Shocking behaviour. I think going back in all seriousness though, it's a difficult one with George Williams, Al, isn't it? Because whenever he plays, he comes in and does so many, plays so well every single time, and yet doesn't seem to be anywhere near it. And we are overloaded with the defenders. You know, Alfie Kilgore can't get in. Aidan Flint can't get in the starting 11 at the minute. George Williams is clearly down that pecking order. I love him as a player. I think he's a great asset. But if it means opening the a squad spot up for someone else in maybe a different position that can play a number of positions, that might be for the benefit of us going forward.
Well, like Clive said, it's probably for the benefit of the player, but I would love to keep Williams because, you know, of what he brings to the team when he plays, either centre-back or right-back.
I think we just need a little bit of clarity, Jim, don't we? We need someone to ask the question, what is happening with Tom Nichols? It doesn't have to be asked directly to Clough in public first off. It can be asked behind closed doors. Can we ask you what is happening with George Williams? Can we have a bit of an update? Because I think us as fans, if you turn around and went, oh, he's just carrying a little bit of a knock, or he's not quite right, or whatever, or we literally just do see him as, you know, the break glass in case of emergency player that we want to keep round. If we had that clarity, I think we'd all feel better, wouldn't we, Jim?
Yes and no. We don't know. I mean, there might be reasons that we shouldn't know. I don't know. I think if Steve-O his questions seem quite pre-scripted. I think if it was something for us to know, we would know. That's what I think. So you don't know. I don't know. I would like to keep Williams, but yeah, I agree. It'd be nice to know, but perhaps they're not sure themselves. It depends if they can find a suitor for the likes of Nichols, and I don't know.
I think we're just overloaded in that defensive area, can't we? And I think if we can move maybe one out to free up a slot in midfield or even up front where we are clearly lacking, because surely we can't go through the rest of the season relying on Reece Oates, even though, you know, if he comes good and doesn't get injured, you know, Touchwood gets through unscathed, it'll be a quality asset for us. But the risk factor is too high, as it is with Lee Gregory. You look at how we struggled for goals, especially in that November period. If we had another player registered as a front player, an attack-minded player, it might be a little bit different.
Yeah, we need to free up some room up top. The fact that Wayne wasn't even on the bench when Gregory had only trained the day before tells you all you need to know about what Clough now thinks about Wayne. So if he goes and the likes of Williams and even if him going back and McDonald and Nichols leaving, that's 3 spots. You know, you could sign whoever you want with that, but we definitely.
McDonald wouldn't be, would it?
Oh, is he not registered? So
yeah.
we'd be 2 slots opened up. 3 with Williams if he decides he doesn't want him.
That's the important thing.
100%. Get another wage gone as well.
Wage gone.
Yeah, and invest it up the other end of the pitch, because for the last year or so, we've shored up the defence and we've now got an abundance of, and we've brought half the striking team back there, which doesn't help. So yeah, free up some defenders and let's put them up top.
Absolutely. Well, let's end by looking ahead to 2025. Destiny's Child, aka Clive.
Son of Destiny.
Son of Destiny. What are your ambitions for 2025, please?
I'd like to go for the rest of the season without another quiz like this. Seriously, I love your quizzes, Craig. I just don't think I'm going to live long enough to see the next one out. I'd like to see.
You had a palm reading from Destiny, I think.
I'd like to see consolidation on where we are, and everybody stay happy and healthy and fit.
Al?
Get 50 points as soon as possible, then push on.
Keep improving, like Clough said, really. I think we should aim for a top half finish if we can. I know that's challenging, but I think attainable and a healthy target.
We just want to stay up and enjoy ourselves. New grounds, new teams, you know, just have fun.
And more match-worn shirts.
And more match-worn shirts. I can't emphasise that enough. More match-worn shirts.
Absolutely. And if you've not seen Nick's brilliant website, his brand new website,
Yeah, if you head on to mansfieldtownshirts.co.uk, we've got all the shirts on there. I've added some more on today. I took another photo of another 5 or so. Clive's took his headphones off. Absolute joke, rubbish.
He's put his jock back.
Yeah, if you head over there, there's loads of shit. If you can help out, the one I'd like people to help out is if you've got any photos or old programs of any of the games I'm missing to try and find and help it become a bit more complete record, it'd be nice. So head over there and have a look and see if you can help out.
Absolutely. Let's hope that the Stags continue to consolidate, continue to move forward at the pace that they're capable of. Enjoy the ride as it continues to go. And just remember where we've come from to where we are now. And who knows, this time next year, we could be in the position where we're pushing on towards a championship place. Maybe we'll even be there as well. Who knows what we will see in the future. From me and all of the rest of the Mansfield Matters team, my thanks and our thanks for listening and watching along with the podcast all year long. Make sure you do it next year too. All that's left to say now though, is ta-ra.
Bye.
So there you have it. That's 2024 ticked off, and we can now move forward looking ahead to the brand new calendar year. It has been a momentous last 12 months being a Stags fan. I think it's a year which we will never, ever forget. Let's hope, though, that around the corner is more fantastic memories as we continue our journey in League One. And who knows what could come this time next year when we're doing a recap of 2025. Don't forget, there's still time to get involved with podcast predictions for New Year's Day. All you need to do is get involved via the link in the description. You must submit your guess no later than 1 hour and 1 minute before kickoff. And we'll see you again very, very soon. Follow us on all things social media at MTFC Matters to find out when 2025 is nearly upon us. The journey continues, and let's hope this one is also the year of the Stag and more moments like this.
Oh my God.